Hello, everybody. This is Monday, and today we are in Genesis 26. Thank you for tuning in for this devotion. Hope you've already read Genesis 26. If not, go ahead and get your Bible. And as you do that, I just want to remind you, men and women, that Valentine's Day is this coming weekend. So, are you ready? I know it's COVID-19 and we can't necessarily do some things we would like to do, but hey, get creative, do something. Don't let it sneak up on you. So, just giving you a heads up, okay? Both for the husbands, what to do for the wives, and ladies, it's also Valentine's Day for your husband, so what you do for him as well. All right, Genesis chapter 26. This chapter caused me to write in my journal about spiritual blind spots. Now, in this chapter, Isaac does a lot of good things. There's a lot of really good qualities that are demonstrated by Isaac in this chapter. If you've already read it, you'll know that they encountered a famine, and God told Isaac not to go to Egypt, but stay there in Canaan, and that's what he did. He listened to God and he obeyed God. You'll remember in the story that the Philistines filled up the wells that his father Abraham had dug, and rather than fighting and going to war, Isaac just kind of moved around and dug a new well, and so he avoided conflict. Toward the end of the chapter, he agreed to a peace treaty with Abimelech, the king of the Philistines. So he was a man of peace. And in verses 23 and following, when he moved to Beersheba, where his men dug a new well, that in verse 25, he followed the example of his father Abraham, and he built an altar there, and he called on the name of the Lord. So he built an altar and he worshiped God. So there are many good qualities of Isaac that are visible in this chapter. And yet there's also one negative quality. He did something similar to what his dad did. It's in this chapter in verse 7 that when they were living among the Philistines, that he passed his wife Rebekah off as his sister instead of his wife, just like Abraham had done with Sarah, because she was beautiful, and it says he was afraid they would kill him so they could take Rebekah. Now, eventually that plot was uncovered, that scheme, and fortunately no one had tried to claim Rebekah as their wife, so she was not violated in any way. But it's interesting to me that he demonstrates faith and obedience and so many good qualities as a man of God in this chapter, and yet he's got this one blind spot, just like his dad had, that when it comes to the beauty of his wife and his fear of being, he wasn't afraid to be killed because he was living in a strange land, but he was afraid to be killed because, hey, your wife's beautiful and we want her. I don't get it. But then I got to thinking about it, because, you know, we can read these stories and beat these guys up really bad. But here's how I kind of look at it. They had great qualities, but they also had some spiritual blind spots. Who doesn't? I do. You do. Hopefully some of the blind spots I have today aren't the same ones I had 20 years ago. I've figured out some of those and I'm doing better. But I've lived long enough to know that the longer we live, the more we realize we have blind spots. And so that's what jumped out at me here, and it caused me to think and pray. All right, God, I remember some times in my past when, through circumstances, through relationships, whatever, through experiences, I've realized, hey, here's something where I was wrong. Here's a blind spot I had. So let's work on it. But I'm 63, and I still have blind spots. I just don't know what they are yet. So I wrote in my journal for God to protect me from those blind spots, but also to reveal them to me, so I can continue growing. And it doesn't matter whether we're young, middle-aged, or older, we all have blind spots. We all need to have a heart that is open to God revealing them to us so we can continue growing. We never reach the place where we stop growing. And one of the ways we grow is to have God, through whatever means He chooses, reveal to us our spiritual blind spots. Isaac had one. I have them. So do you. But let's grow so that the number of blind spots are fewer and fewer, and our faith is stronger and stronger. Hey, God bless you. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you tomorrow.